Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we are joined by Sherry Peel Jackson. And first of all, I really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I wanted to ask you about, first of all, for you to go into your background with the IRS for those that aren't yet aware, and what brought you to become somewhat of a whistleblower against the IRS.
Well, what happened was I was working at the IRS thinking that I was doing my duty helping collect the tax, and nothing was going on. I quit the IRS for family reasons, but after I left, people started coming to me and saying, hey, you know, I've heard that the income tax doesn't apply to us, so we're not supposed to be taxed. And I didn't do anything with that until someone alerted me to a full-page ad in the USA Today that was put out by a group called We the People Foundation for Constitutional Education, and it said, Dear We the People, the income tax is a fraud. And then within the body of that article was a book by Joe Bannister. Joe Bannister was a former Criminal Investigation Division agent. I said, oh, you know, he knows my language. And then there was another thing within the body of that. It was a $50,000 ad for a reward by a guy named Bill Conklin. William Conklin was offering $50,000 for anybody to prove that we have to file and pay. So I said, oh, boy. So I ordered Joe's book. And I started researching because I said, I really want this $50,000. I can do a lot with 50 grand, you know. And I started researching. And I said, why is it so difficult for me to find this law? I can find all these little regulations and nothing's matching up. And discovered that there is no law that requires most Americans that live and work in the 50 states to file an income tax return or pay an income tax. Now, all that other stuff that's in there is saying, oh, if you are married and you have this amount, and it goes behind income. They say your taxable income. Your tax on your taxable income. There's no definition of income in the code. What we found was income is corporate profits. So if one Walmart makes $100,000 in a day, and then they have expenses. They have their rent, they have utilities and their salaries and all that. And let's say that adds up to 80 grand. They are taxed on 20,000, right? So that's the corporate profit. But if you pay me to cut your grass, I'm using my mind, my arms, and my legs. I've cut your grass and I've done a great job, and you give me $100. That's an even exchange because I use my life energy in exchange for resources. Right. But we're being taxed on 100% of our energy and our resources. And whether you believe that is legal, whether you don't believe me and you say there is a law, that's immoral. Yeah. Because to extract 100% of someone's labor is slavery. At what percentage is it not slavery?
Well, and that's one of the things I find really interesting is the term slavery, because in many countries around the world, people pay as much as 65% in taxes. In Canada, they have a carbon tax on top of that 65%. In Britain, they had a 98% income tax at one point. And I mean, you got to get to the point where the greater good of the greater number, yeah, there's some ink on paper that says some things. But at the end of the day, these are people that are trying to take care of their family. How on earth is that going to help the poor by stealing from the poor? I mean, what do you think about this notion that it's okay because they are funding certain, programs or ideas?
That's a crock. Yeah. You know what? There are a lot of people that are wealthy. Their dogs live better than people. Mm-hmm. They have air conditioning homes for their dogs and stuff like that. Now, you got this elite group of people that are making all these rules and laws, and then you got all these other people that are supposed to be subjects, and to me that's slavery. Same thing as slavery. You've got the big house, which are all of these elite, so-called elite people. So why can't we move up? I've learned that as people start learning this and start taking advantage of it and start moving up and start to thrive, they change the rules because they don't want everybody. Like, for example, being offshore. First of all, they manipulate the media to make everything offshore seem illegal. So everybody has this knee-jerk reaction. If it's offshore, it's illegal. Yet they have hundreds of corporations offshore. And then when you try to start setting up offshore, then they want to come after you. They want to, you got to report this and you got to do that and all that. So we have to find ways to make sure that we thrive and forget about what they're doing and forget about, being afraid. I'm grieved that a lot of people don't have a backbone. I'm grieved. When I found out this stuff, I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't start talking about it. And so, yeah, I got a big mouth. But I said, you know what? I started reading and, thinking about how the country started. And if the people that started this country just said, okay, well, we're just going to do whatever England, then I would still be a slave. a physical slave, right? So somebody's got to stand up and do something.
Well, they turn people from physical slaves, African Americans were physical slaves, to tax cattle at the end of the day. And they created what I find to be kind of a culture of dependency among many people. This notion that if you pay, you're doing a good thing for society. And in that way as well, they're kind of pushing welfare programs on many people and causing people to be more dependent, weak, and even stupid in a lot of ways. And what do you think? How do you think that benefits a state long term? Because I feel like at the end of the day, they're just creating a nation of brainless sheep. And is that good for the labor force? Is that good for production? Is that good for the country in general? I mean, what do you think?
Having the sheeple is good for the elite. It's not good for us at all. Making us have a sheeple corral. So they have us fighting each other in the sheeple corral. I'm black. You're white. You're a Democrat. I'm a Republican. You a Jew? All of that, and we're fighting, all this fighting. They're just looking, they're laughing, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. While we suffer and fight and watch the football game and scream and holler and throw the popcorn up and waste all that energy on all of that stuff, and it's just nuts. It's like what I'm not saying that people can't have some entertainment, but we are just engrossed in entertainment. Everybody knows the statistics of the sports, and everybody knows what's going on these unreality shows and all of this, and that's bread and circuses. They have us focused on food and entertainment, and we're not watching that we are being entrapped in a sheeple corral. And that's what's happening. So people need to wake up.
Well, and I think what you say is exactly right. They kind of have us divided, really, over the most ridiculous, futile things, attacking each other, distracted from the real enemies, while the real enemies look at us and contemplate and scheme and smile and laugh. But I have to ask, though, finally, what your thoughts are on people like Russo and people like Irwin Schiff, who've been leading causes in this fight for a long time. Obviously, Russo has been gone for a while. Irwin Schiff's been gone for a while. What were your thoughts on the work of these people? I mean, I know that Russo was a producer and he was big in Hollywood and all that, and then suddenly he starts going up to the people at the IRS and calling them out. I mean, I wanted to hear your thoughts on those people.
I think they're heroes. I think that everybody that's trying to get the word out to make people wake up and be educated is a hero. Aaron, I was in that movie, America, Freedom, and Fascism, and he got fed up. And I'm just praying that a lot of people get fed up. Irwin Schiff was fed up. His little yellow book called How Not to Pay Taxes was one of the influence that got me interested in looking at this information. We have got to be the ones that are the watchmen. We've got to have the clarion call. Look, do you want to stay a slave, or do you want to get off the plantation? Unfortunately, we have too many people that want to live in the matrix. They want to keep shoving that blue pill down their throats. But they're slowly coming out, especially with you guys, you young people. So the young people don't want to be trapped in Social Security for the rest of their lives because they know they're not going to get it. Right. So they're waking up. Wait a minute. What am I doing with my life? I'm a slave. I'm working all these hours. They're taking a ton of money out for income tax. They're taking a ton out for Social Security. I'm getting this check, this little bitty check. My rent is $1,400 to $1,800 a month. What am I doing here? So it's time to evolve, and it's time to escape the rat race.
A lot of people will say we should be educating people, and we should be spreading information and waking people up. But I think one of the number one things that people have to remember at the end of the day is to live by example and live free. And if you start to live free, it's kind of like Henry David Thoreau said, if everyone stopped at the same time, well, we know what would happen next. The IRS is really not that strong if enough people started rejecting what they're forcing. But anyway, finishing it off, can you let people know where they could find more of your work and support the work that you do?
Well, I'm on SherryPeelJackson.com. I have a Sherry Peel Jackson YouTube channel. I'm on Facebook. And I have books, How to Escape the Rat Race, How to Stick to the IRS. And I do consult with people because people need help. People that have a job, that want to go from having a job to having a business and creating their freedom, that I consult with them on a regular basis, and that's what I do. So they can contact me at SherryPeelJackson.com or on Facebook or YouTube or whatever.
Well, I really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Like what you see here at Wham! Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We cannot do it without you guys. Every donation is extremely, extremely appreciated as we're getting incredibly shadow banned. We've lost 80% of our audience since January of 2019 and counting. They are ripping us apart here on YouTube, and the only thing we could do in the meantime as we prepare for the next big step is to ask for help from the viewers that support our free information that we try to post on a daily basis. You can also find us on Subscribestar, where it's just $1 a month. That's all it takes. $1 a month is all it takes to truly make a huge difference. If everyone gave $1 a month, it would change everything for independent media, and we could win this information war, and we can defeat the mainstream medias eventually. And of course, on Subscribestar, we post subscriber-only content that you'll only see on Subscribestar. So make sure to pledge there, become a Patreon. That makes a huge difference, guys. And also, don't forget to check out our Bitcoin address below in the comments and description, as well as on the screen for you to scan, if you please. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on the alternatives. We will likely be deleted by YouTube in the next 2 years. It's already happening on a vast scale, so make sure to find us on float.app. That's flote.app. At Josh Sigurdson, as well as at WAM, W-A-M. Float.app is replacing every social media, and I mean, it's just incredible the opportunities it provides for not just creators, but for the average person who wants to get away from these nannies telling them what they can or cannot see. They plan to replace Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon. You could subscribe to us on Float and pledge with cryptocurrency. It's really innovative. We are also on BitChute at World Alternative Media, as well as so many others, Minds, PocketNet. You can find us at World Alternative Media on Instagram. There's many options. And finally, don't forget to join us at Anarchapulco 2020, the famous event, the best liberty event known to mankind, other than perhaps Anarcho Vegas 2020. There are 2 major events coming up that we are extremely excited about, and you can use promo code WAM, that's W-A-M, and save 10% on your tickets to these legendary conferences. There's so many amazing people speaking there. You won't want to miss it. So make sure to support in any way you can, even if it's just sharing our videos, pressing like, pressing to be notified. Anything helps, folks. You are the change you wish to see. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.